Good morning, second graders. Today is Thursday, May 14th. Today I am going to read a story for you that will help you learn the difference between facts and opinions. That's our skill that we're going to be working on in reading today. On Tuesday, we learned about the skill of inferencing. On Wednesday, we learned about the skill of main idea and details. And today we're going to be doing facts and opinions. So hopefully our story today will help you to know the difference. All of you know that a fact is something that's true. It can be proven. So the things that we learned about in our Thinking About Ants story, for example, scientists research about ants, they study ants, and they give information about ants that they have learned. And then that is put into a book, and that's how we learn then, is that we read books and we learn from the scientists who actually are there researching. So all of those facts in our Thinking About Ants book the other day were true. We did learn that ants can be different colors, and we learned about the queen ant and all of those facts that were in that book. Now, an opinion cannot be proven. An opinion is somebody's thoughts or feelings or judgment about something, and those cannot be proven. That's just the way somebody thinks. For example, somebody might say, pizza is the best food for dinner. Well, someone else might not like pizza, and they might say, nah, I like chicken for dinner better than pizza. Chicken is the best food. Hey, well, that was somebody's opinion. Someone else might not agree with either one of those, and they might think spaghetti is the best dinner that they could have. So opinions are just somebody's thoughts or feelings, and they cannot be proven. So I'm going to read to you today the book called Mr. Fact and Miss Opinion. Mr. Fact was a man of good sense, who was simple and often quite tense. He lived on a road that was winding and red, with his dog Peanut, who liked to play dead. There's the pictures. You can tell it rhymes too, can't you? You can hear rhyming words in there. In the house next to his, which was bright red and black, lived a woman of 20 who would yakety-yak. Over all conversations she took dominion. Her name finally suits her. She's Miss Opinion. And there she is, right there. When out and about on a fine sunny day, she saw her neighbor across the way. Good morning, she said, full of spirit and glee. A morning it is, but that's all that it be. So there's Miss Opinion, and there's Mr. Fact. Why, Mr. Fact, has your day begun sour? The sun's been up for only 1 hour. The sun is up, the sky color's blue. My day's not gone sour. I just say what is true. So Mr. Fact only speaks in facts. Say what is true. I suppose that is wise. But what about beyond what you see with your eyes? No one need know what's beyond what I see. I share facts, only facts, and that simply is me. Beyond what he saw, Mr. Fact knew not, for he really was never subjective. And subjective means influenced by someone else's feelings or opinions. And so he wasn't subjective because he didn't ever talk like that or think like that. He only thought in facts. His opinion was rare and his thoughts were unshared. He preferred to always be objective. And objective is the opposite of subjective. Objective is not based on thoughts or feelings. It's more based on facts. Miss Opinion then replied in good nature, I'm glad to hear your morning's just fine. If it suits you tonight, would you join me to dine? You see, Miss Opinion thought her neighbor's words dreadful. How sad it must be to restrict one's thoughts to actuality. She'd show him the way to share his mind. She'd give him an earful and food that's sublime. And sublime means really, really yummy. Tasty food. I suppose I could, he said happily, for eating alone was not his cup of tea. When shall I come? Say 6 or 7? I'll start cooking at 6, so bring yourself over at 7:11. When evening came, there was no time to waste. Miss Opinion was bustling all over the place. She had it all planned, how she'd help Mr. Fact. She'd give him a meal that would make him snap. No words could express how good her food tasted. His feelings inside must come out and be stated. So she was really hoping that her cooking would allow him to express an opinion since he only thought factually. "Hello," she exclaimed as she opened the door. "Please come on in, the food's on the table." "Why, thank you," he said. "Am I smelling basil?" "Yes, basil soup and rosemary bread. The best in the county, or so it's been said." And basil is a type of seasoning that she used in her cooking. "I have quite a gift," Miss Opinion continued. "My mom's recipes were left to me, but I've changed them a bit, so they're more savory." Savory means tasty. Oops, I didn't show you the picture. Hang on. Where's the picture? With that, Mr. Fact raised his spoon to his lips. He slurped up a mouthful so much that it dripped. From his beard to his bowl, where he'd surely want more, it splashed with a blop and plopped on the floor. With a gulp and a grin, he picked up his bread and bit off the corner. His eyes lit up. His cheeks became plump. Miss Opinion could see her food won him. Looks like he's enjoying her food, doesn't it? "Miss Opinion," he said with exuberant glee. What do you think he's going to say? Do you think he's going to compliment her food using words that are opinions? "I'm so glad you asked me to dine. This food you've made is absolutely divine. The bread so tasty, delectable, superb. The soup so zesty, full of fine herbs." And look, he's able to express himself, isn't he? With his opinions. "Oh, I'm so glad," Miss Opinion replied. "It fills me with joy to hear you speak your mind. I knew there were more than just facts up in there," she said as she pointed at him with great flair. Mr. Fact was inspired to think beyond facts, which softened his heart and helped him relax. Trying to see if you can see the pictures. I gotta peek around to make sure it's in the camera. It wasn't long before he could say, "What a beautiful, lovely, fantastical day." And remember at the beginning, he didn't say anything about the day except for that the sky was blue and that it was the day and the grass was green. He was pretty factual, wasn't he? But now he was able to express himself with beautiful words. His words now expressed what he felt and could see. He could give his opinion that made him feel free. And that's the end of our story. So you can see that in our world and in our English language, we need both facts and opinions, don't we? They both have a place in whatever we think and whatever we say, right? All right, so now we're going to practice the skill of fact and opinion. I'm going to turn the camera around and we are going to do a sheet that I'm going to do with you, and then you're going to need your reading packet. So go ahead, grab your reading packet and a pencil, and I will turn the camera around and we will continue with fact and opinion. And then after that, we're going to correct our math from yesterday and finish our math. I hope you all enjoyed that story about Mr. Fact and Miss Opinion. That was a good one, wasn't it? Hopefully you understand a little bit more about facts and opinions now. And I'm going to show you this. If we were at school in the story spot, I would be writing some of these things on our chart paper, wouldn't I? So we're just going to go through a little bit about this. So facts. A statement that is true, just like we said. A fact can be tested and proven. And some examples of facts are the sun is hot. B is the second letter in the alphabet. Friday is the day after Thursday. So all those are facts that can be tested and proven. And that's what a fact is. Okay? An opinion, someone's feelings or beliefs about a topic. They can't be proven true or false. And some key words associated with opinions are believe, think, or should. So when you hear someone saying, "I believe we should," or "I think we should," Those are all opinions, what somebody feels or what they believe. All right, so we are going to continue practicing fact and opinion together with a sheet that we are going to do, just like we did the last couple days. And then you are going to get out your reading packet in just a minute and do it on your own. So this one is called Nesting Dolls. So I'm just going to read this paragraph out loud, and then we are going to answer some questions about facts and opinions. So here we go. Nesting dolls. Nesting dolls are sets of wooden dolls. I think they are very cute. You twist open each doll to find another, smaller doll inside. How many of you have ever seen nesting dolls? They're actually really, really cool. The dolls were first made in Russia in 1890. Today, Major League Baseball teams are handing out these dolls. They are called stackable stars. Each doll is painted to look like a player on the team. Many fans collect the dolls. So my mom used to have a set of these when we were growing up and that I'd love to play with. It's kind of cool that there's a paragraph about that so many years later. All right, number 1, write fact or opinion next to each sentence. So letter A, I think they are very cute. Okay, now the word think should have let you know that that's an opinion. Remember in our chart that we just looked at, the words believe or think or should, those indicate that it's an opinion. Letter B, today, Major League Baseball teams are handing out these dolls. Okay, well, they just said that up above in the paragraph, didn't they? Okay, so that one would be a fact. Okay, letter C, many fans collect the dolls. So do you think that would be fact or opinion? Look up above, it says it right here. Many fans collect the dolls. And you know when you read this that this is a nonfiction text, a nonfiction paragraph. It's not just for your enjoyment. They're telling you facts about what nesting dolls are. So letter C is a fact. And at the bottom it says write another fact from the paragraph. So if I was going to choose a fact, I think I would go up here and I would underline this one. These dolls were first made in Russia in 1890. And that's the sentence that I would write down here, but we don't have to wait for me to write all that. Just know that that would be another fact that I could put down below where it tells me to write another fact. All right, so that's a little bit about fact and opinion. So I need you to get out your reading packet. If you haven't done that, pause the video and go get it. Hopefully you already have it and you're all organized. And today our matrix tells us to watch my YouTube video for a lesson on fact and opinion. We just did that. And now we're going to complete pages 7 and 8 in your reading packet. And there's also an activity on Seesaw that I created for you to take a picture of your work and upload that so that I can see your answers. So this is page 7 in your packet. And your story is about the big cat, which is kind of funny because we just had a Lions at Lunchtime story about a big cat, didn't we? That's what a lion is. And page 8, and it's about in the shell. Okay, so that's what your job is to do today. I'm going to read the paragraph for you, and then your job is to do just what we did on the sheet we did together. You're going to write fact or opinion and write another fact. So it's called the big cat. The jaguar is one of the 4 big cats. The others are lions, tigers, and leopards. Jaguars live in warm climates in Latin America. They are the most beautiful of all wild cats. A jaguar has a big head and a strong jaw. Its paws and claws are huge. The jaguar is a silent and deadly hunter. However, it rarely attacks people. The jaguar spends most of its time alone and even stays away from other jaguars. Okay, so like I said, you're going to write fact or opinion next to each sentence, just like we did before. And then number 2, write another fact that isn't already one of these. If one of these is a fact, you can't copy that and put it down here. Go up in your paragraph and find another one. Now, you don't get to just underline yours like I did. You actually have to write the fact on the lines. Be sure you start with a capital letter and end with a period, because you're going to take it right out of this paragraph. Okay? All right, and your next one, page 8, called In the Shell. Page 8. When a chick is in its shell, it needs air to breathe. The air seeps through tiny holes in the shell. Maybe you can even read along with me. Then the air passes through a thin skin inside the shell. Blood vessels carry the air to the chick. At one end of the shell is an air bubble. When the chick is ready to hatch, it pops this bubble. Then it practices using its lungs to breathe. Chicks look funny when they hatch. Okay, so once again, writing fact or opinion next to each sentence. Here they are. There's the word fact and opinion, so spell it right. Which one's a fact? Which one's an opinion? And number 2, write another fact from the paragraph. So go back up above, find another fact, and write it on the lines. You don't get to just underline it. Write it on the lines. And then go ahead on Seesaw and take a picture of page 7 and upload that. And make sure you put the camera pretty close to your paper so that I can see your answers, okay? And then do the same thing for page 8. So you're just going to click Add Response, take a picture, upload it, and then do the same thing for page 8. All right? And that's your reading for today. Awesome. Fact and opinion. That was a nice skill to learn. All right, for math today, we're going to do lesson 2, guided practice, numbers 1 to 3 on page 600. And then tell a family member your answer to the talk math question. So hopefully you have your math packet and a pencil. If not, pause the video and go and get that. And first of all, we are going to correct your math from yesterday. Okay. So here it is. Yesterday we had page 595 and 596. So it was pretty easy because it was about telling time to the hour. So that's awesome. So your answer should be 1 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 12 o'clock in both the digital form and on the line before the word o'clock. Notice o'clock is when the minute hand is touching the 12. And down below you had to actually draw the hands on your clock. Remember, I gave you an example and I told you that you have to have the minute hand touch the number and the hour hand just points to it. It can't touch it because that makes your long hand for your minute hand and your short hand for your hour hand. So that was 5 o'clock. And this is what it should look like for 10 o'clock. And here is 3 o'clock. So I'm going to guess that you got all of those correct. And on the back, Colin gets home at 3 o'clock. Evan gets home 1 hour later. So if you're at 3 o'clock, 1 hour later would be 4 o'clock, right? Because we know 3 plus 1 is 4. So that's what your clock should look like, right here. And number 11, this time you had to subtract because we wanted to know before, okay? So basketball practice starts at 4 o'clock. Mark eats a snack 2 hours before practice. What time does Mark eat his snack? You could have known 4 minus 2 is 2. So that was 2 o'clock. Okay, or you could have just thought in your head, if it's 4 o'clock and you go back an hour would be 3 o'clock and back a second hour would be 2 o'clock. So if you didn't have these equations, that's okay. I just wrote those for you to help you a little. All right, brain builders. Number 12, it is 4 hours before 12 o'clock. So we're going to think of what time it was before 12, 4 hours back. So what time is it exactly on the hour? Show the time on the clock. So looking at the subtraction that we did up above, 12 minus 4 is 8. So the time would have been 8 o'clock, and that's what it looks like on the clock. And then the right map, what time is it when the hour hand is on a 5 and the minute hand is on the 12? How do you know? Hopefully you knew that that was 5 o'clock, and you should have written something like the short hand was pointing at the 5 and it tells the hour. And if the long hand or the minute hand is on the 12, it is o'clock. All right, you didn't have to have those exact words, but something along those lines that knew you understood what it meant. Okay, good. All right, today we have a new lesson, lesson 2, and we're talking about time to the half hour today. Okay, and so that's the name of our math page, lesson 2, time to the half hour. And if you're looking at page numbers, it's page 599. So we have our essential question, how do I use and tell time? So we are using time by knowing how to read a clock, right? So that we can get to places at the correct time. This would have been handy to have in school, and then you would have known how much longer it would be until we went to gym or lunch, right? But now you'll know for next year. Okay, so this is Math in My World, and we have this clock right here. Okay, now before we get started on the clock, I'm going to show you this clock, and I'm going to show 5 o'clock. So that means that my minute hand is on the 12 because that's o'clock, and my hour hand is right on the 5. Okay, now when your time is on the exact hour, your red hand will point to that exact hour. But today we are going to be learning to tell time to the half hour. And oftentimes when we say something is on the half hour, we say it's 30 minutes past. Okay, now if you look at the clock, remember the minute hand points to these blue numbers. So we can count by 5s until we get to 30. Okay, remember we're not going to just count each of these dots. That would take forever. Instead, when you tell time, it's much easier to count by 5s. And that's how we know where our minute hand is. So we count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So whenever you get to 30, you can see the 30 down there. That means it's to the half hour. Because 1 hour equals 60 minutes, right? And so 60 split in half would be 30 plus 30. So we have 30 minutes from the 12 to the 6, and we have another 30 minutes from the 6 back around to the 12. Okay, so whenever your minute hand is on the 6, we say it's 30 or half past the hour. Because this is on the hour, that's 5 o'clock, and when it gets down to the 6, we say it's half past the hour or 5:30. Both of those things mean the same thing. So either half past 5 or 5:30 mean the same thing. Okay, so let's take a minute and just count by 5s one more time today. So here we go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. And that's why it's so important to know how to count by 5, because that's how we tell time with our minute hand. Okay, and notice that when you're up to the next hour, then your hour hand moves. Now, something else that's really important when you tell time to the half hour is this. As you are moving, and it doesn't do it on these little clocks, I would need my big clock, and I kind of showed you that the first day. As this minute hand is going around and it gets down to the 6, what happens in a real clock, and on my teacher clock, is that my hour hand also moves halfway between the 5 and the 6. Okay, and that's because it's almost halfway. It's halfway to the 6, so it's almost 6. So then my hour hand moves in the middle of the 5 and the 6. And when you tell time, if it's in the middle of two numbers, you look at the earlier number, and that's the hour. Okay, because it's already on its way to the next hour. So later on in our lesson tomorrow, we're going to have to draw the hands on the clock. And so we're going to be really picky about if it's on this, if the minute hand is on the 6 or higher, then your hour hand has to be in the middle of the 2 hours. All right. So today on your clock, they've already filled in the numbers for you, haven't they? And now what we're going to do is we're going to fill in the minutes. They've filled in the hours. We're going to fill in the minutes. So we're going to count by 5 because we start at the 12 and we count 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we put a 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We put a 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we put 15. So we're going to count by 5s because that's what that means. So 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. And we know it's much easier to just count by fives rather than having to count each one of these minutes. Okay? All right. So, on my clock today, if we were all together, you'd have your little clock and I would say, show me 10:30. And hopefully you would know that the minute hand, okay, it would be, or the hour hand, excuse me, would be close to the 10, but remember we're on 30, so it can't be right on the 10. It's got to be in the middle. And your blue hand, the minute hand, would point to 30. Okay, that would be 10:30. And some of us did this together earlier in the year. So some of you may remember me saying that if it's on the 30, the 6 or higher, you have to have your hour hand in the middle of the 2 hours. And when you look at the clock, you know it's 10:30 because you always choose the earlier number if it's in between. Okay, that's how you know it's 10:30 and not 11:30. All right, let's do another one. Let's pretend I say find 3:30. Okay, now look, some of you are going to want to do this. 3:30. No, because remember, if it's on the 6, the 30, if it's half past, that means it has to be half past the hour too. So your hour hand has to be in the middle. Now that's 3:30. Okay, let's do another one. How about 8:30? Okay, so if it's 8:30, you're going to move the hands to the middle because we know 30 means it has to be half past. And it's in the middle of the 8 and the 9. So you're going to choose the earlier number, which is 8. 8:30. Okay, and that'll just take some practice. If we were in school, we would do this again and again and again. So I know that we didn't get to do it too many times, but we'll keep practicing every day. All right, so on your paper, it says, draw hands to show one of the times and write the times. So let's go ahead and say that we want to do, let's do 10:30. Okay, so you know that your minute hand would be on the 30, which is the 6. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So we're going to draw the minute hand first. And that's the long hand, so it has to touch the number. And if I said 10:30, then we're going to draw the hour hand. Does it point to the 10? Nope. It points in the middle of the 10 and the 11. Okay, and remember, you're not going to touch it. It's shorter than your other hand, isn't it? Okay, and then if it's 10:30, what's another way to say that? Half past 10, because it's partway past 10 o'clock. Okay, so that's math in your world. All right, on the back, you can show time to the half hour. 1 half hour is 30 minutes. These clocks show 2:30. Okay, now look at how they made these little loops because they're counting 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So the clock, the minute hand is on the 6, which is 30. And that's 2:30. And look, their hour hand is in the middle of the 2 and 3. So that's correct. 2:30. It says the hour hand points between the 2 and the 3. The minute hand points to the 6, which is 30. Just like on our clock over here, when you see the 6, you see the little blue 30 underneath. Okay? Helpful hint. The hour hand moves halfway to the next number as a half hour passes. Okay, and that's what we were talking about. All right, so your assignment today is you are going to tell what time is shown on the clock and write the time. So look at how they have this yellow here. We didn't talk about that before. Do you see, I'll show you on this one, it's bigger. Do you see how they have this part yellow here? Because they're showing you how they split this hour in half. So this half of the circle is yellow. This half of the circle is white. So half past. So from the 12 down to the 6 is half an hour. And from the 6 back up to the 12 is another half hour. Because we know that 30 minutes plus 30 minutes equals 60 minutes. And 60 minutes is a whole hour. That's why we say half past. Okay? All right, so your job today is to tell the time on the clock, write it digitally, and half past what hour. Okay, and then you need to do number 1, number 2, number 3. And the talk math, it is 8:30. Explain what half past means. And you need to tell a family member that. All right, good luck. That's your math today. And we will be back together tomorrow for another reading and math lesson. Have a great day, second grade. Bye.